all these posts on Facebook now of, you know, the fall pictures. You see all these beautiful colors and they're sharing and saying only so many more weeks and fall will be here. And of course, those have been some of my most responsive posts because everybody loves the colors of fall and they know it's coming and they're excited about it, right? And towards the end of fall, we'll get the video clips from the mountains and we'll get the pictures and stuff being shared of, oh no, winter's around the corner, get ready, this is coming. And then you get a mix of people that are really excited for snow like me, and you get people that are horrified like, oh my god, I do not want to deal with another winter. Bottom line, I don't know anybody out there who doesn't expect fall to come, who doesn't expect winter to come. Like, it's a given, it's coming, it's a seasonal thing. Spring, you have winter, spring, summer, you know it's going to be hot in the summer. Around here it's hottest during the end of July into August. We get our hottest period up in Kansas City, and then it tapers off and you start to get the fall weather around, you know, the first or second week of September, and things get so nice and the colors change and it's awesome. But we all know it's coming. Like, if I met somebody who said winter's not coming, like there won't be a winter this year, I'm gonna be liable to have them evaluated because they're obviously not in the right state of mind. Yet how many of us have a bad situation that come up in our lives? The car breaks, the heater goes out right before winter. That's a great example. You don't have the money to fix your heater core, or your engine blows up and now you don't have transportation for work. What are you gonna do? And you look at your bank account and there's no money. There's like nothing, like you couldn't have predicted this. It just happened, right? And you're in that rut. I've been there. I went through bankruptcy. I was nearly homeless. That's why I love doing these videos on like business and motivation, because I was at the point where I was wrongly accused of damaging property. Long story short, I had a friend who needed help. She had some kids that were having difficulties when it comes to like emotionally and psychologically and things like that. And she was hard up, like she was between jobs and she needed a place. And of course I'm like open arms, like, yeah, get over here. Like, I don't want to see anybody out on the street. Like, come on, you know, I'll help you. And it turned into a disaster. Some of the kids put holes in the walls. Windows were kicked out. The property was damaged so bad. And there was nothing at that point the police could do. There was nothing that, of course, I got blamed for the whole thing because I was the one in the lease, right? So I was the legal one responsible. The only problem was at around the same time, all of my credit card debt from my bad decisions in the past, you know, I've taken how many years? I won't say how many years, many years of bad decisions, and got stuck. Like, I was trying to pay off debt. It was, you know, I was paying like between $500 and $1,000 a month, making debt payments, trying to get the interest, you know, trying to get the principal down so I could get back on my feet, barely getting by. And I remember one day something changed with my credit. I missed a payment on something. My credit was dinged, even worse, as if it wasn't bad already. And all of a sudden, with my credit going down, all of a sudden all of my debt payments, the interest rates went through the roof. I remember one credit card payment was like $240 a month, went to like $500 a month by itself. And I called them like frantic, saying, I cannot pay you. Like, I will have to file bankruptcy. I cannot afford to pay you. Like, all of my debt payments just doubled, just like that, overnight. And I didn't have money for rents. The property's damaged. In the meantime, the situation got so bad, guys. Like, as if that situation wasn't bad enough, my so-called friend all of a sudden invited her boyfriend to come over and live with us without my permission. So I come home from work one day. Not only is this place falling apart, damaged, broken glass everywhere, and now there's this guy in the house, and I don't know who he is, and I'm like having a cow, like, he cannot stay. Like, I will be twice as in trouble with the landlord. So bottom line, without getting into the whole thing, he refused to leave. The police couldn't do anything because she had invited him and she was technically residing there because she had been there so many weeks. So now I was stuck. I could not do anything. To make matters worse, I had some hidden cameras back in my office and back in my room. And to my horror, my phone started dinging because it detects motion and notified me on my phone if somebody came in my room. I'm watching them on my phone go through boxes of my things and start taking them. I called the police immediately. They couldn't do anything. They said, well, sorry, you guys decided she technically resides in the same house. They can steal anything of yours they want, and there's really nothing we can do about it because you guys reside together. So after that, if that were bad enough, my radiator blew up. Yes. Some people remember on my early YouTube videos of me out there covered in grease and everything, trying to fix grease and oil and radiator fluid, coolant, trying to fix my own radiator because I didn't have any money. I had like $50 just to try to figure it out. I've never replaced a radiator in my life. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm 1 foot out the door because the landlord's pissed at this point, found out some other person's on the property that he doesn't know and it's not on the lease. Long story short, I get the radiator fixed and the window cracked. The window cracked on my truck. So I tried to get it inspected and be able to get it, you know, the license tag, the tags renewed. Couldn't do it because it didn't pass inspection. It's going to be $200 for a windshield. I don't have it. I don't have money for rent. Like, I was out of money. And to make matters worse, like, I thought, okay, no big deal because I had one other vehicle left. I had a Firebird that I had bought used, and I got a fair deal on it, and it was still running. So I'm like, you know what? It doesn't have AC. The AC went out on it, but I can still drive it to work, right? And just get by. Weeks later, the engine blew up. Engine blew up. I have no vehicle. I have no way to work. I worked 45 minutes away from home. I'm broke. And here come the eviction notices. Yes, it was so bad. Like, I almost ended up on the street. Like, I lost everything. I had an investment home at one point. I had bought a home, paid off part of it, and used it as investment property. Only to find out the guy that I had put in charge. Now, mind you, he was a pastor. So I kind of trusted him. I'm like, oh, he must be an honest guy. So I trusted him to go meet up with these potential renters. They had a good word when I checked their references. And so I had to meet with them to sign the lease on the house so that I'd have an income stream and, you know, still have some place to fall back on if I ever did become homeless, right? Only problem, the pastor decided to they talked the pastor into giving them the key just to move some initial things in before signing the lease. And then they disappeared. Yeah, they dodged the pastor, never signed the lease, and 6 weeks later, I realize, I'm told that they never signed the lease, and they didn't make any payments. So if things weren't bad enough, at this point, I start calling around, and I ended up getting a phone call from the neighbors who said, you don't know, who are these people in your place because they're into drugs. There's people coming and going, making drug deals outside your house. They're loading up on guns. Like, it got so bad. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, this is 1/10 of the bad things that happened to me all in one, like, 6-month period. It was horrible. It was horrible. And so I called the police. Guess what? The police said, well, technically they're squatters, you know, at this point. But because they've resided here for so long, you're going to have to get a order from the judge to have them removed and issue an eviction. So what did I do? I called an attorney and to get figure out how to get an eviction issued to these people. And here's the problem. They said in order to issue an eviction, they needed their full name, middle name, last name, previous addresses. They needed all these detailed records of the people before they could issue an eviction. If you don't have all of that, and their social security numbers, I think was even another thing they wanted. I'm like, how do I know this? These are squatters. They're in my house. I don't know who these people are. They never signed my paperwork. I've got a first name and a last name, But according to the people down the street, that wasn't even their true last name. They had it all faked on Facebook and all this. So to make matters worse, like all of these things, I'm not going to fully say what I did, but it turned out to basically the police whispered in my ear and said, it's a crappy situation, but essentially this is going to be a civil matter because there's nothing the courts can do and there's nothing we can do. So kind of what happens, happens. So anyway, I got my property back, but it was a very dangerous situation, and yeah, it turned out to be a horrible deal. There was threats on my life. I almost got shot. Like it was horrible. Like I can't even tell you all the horrible things that I've been through. So now that you guys know kind of my background and things that I've had to deal with, I finally filed bankruptcy, right? The only way I could get these people out of my house, you know what I did? I finally, out of desperation, because I had no money at that point, was the bank started calling because I hadn't made the mortgage payments because I didn't get my rent money from them. So I said, I'm sorry, I'm broke, I'm filing bankruptcy. And they said, well, we've got no choice but then to foreclose on you and take your house away. So I let them have it. And then I said, by the way, you've got squatters in there. Oh yeah, they were not happy about that. So I was like, you're going to have to deal with the squatters. I don't know. So I filed bankruptcy. I lost everything I had. Every single thing. When I'm talking like pinching pennies, I'm talking when I wanted to go to McDonald's for a treat, the dollar menu, I was scraping up pennies, nickels, dimes for the dollar menu. Like I remember these times. So when I'm talking about investing $9,000, $10,000 in stocks, and I'm talking about thousands of dollars into retirement, and I'm talking about all these complex investments and how to be a successful entrepreneur, I started from nothing, like literally nothing. And I've had to build all of this up from scratch. So back to the seasons. Back to the seasons. Winter is going to come in your life. And I'm not trying to be negative because I'm a positive person. But the fact is, winter's going to come. The only question, will you have a coat? Will you have a heater? Will you have your supplies gathered? Will you be prepared for winter? Is your car winterized? When I have a coat and a warm car, and especially a four-wheel drive that gets around in the winter, and I don't go back out when the roads get too dangerous, I could care less. I'm going to make some hot cocoa. I'm going to put some marshmallows in it. I'm going to kick on my fake fireplace because I don't have a real one because we're in an apartment that doesn't have a fireplace right now. Trust me, the next place, I hope to have a fireplace. We almost had one, and then there's just the wrong timing. I'm going to sit here with my fake fireplace going, my heater. It doubles as a heater. And I'm going to sit here and sip on my hot chocolate, watching the snowfall out the window, and I'm going to love every bit of it. And in the background, it's going to be my investment account watching the income build. So there's two ways to handle winter. Are you prepared or are you not? But the fact of the matter is, winter is going to come. That's one big lesson I had to learn in my life. If you're not prepared, winter's going to come whether you're prepared or not. I wasn't prepared. I was stuck in a rut, and I had no way. Once it hit, it was done. It was done. I had no choice because I hadn't prepared for winter. There is an old saying, and it's so true. Do what is hard while it is easy. Right now for me, the car is running. The AC is, I would honestly buy a new car. They have a $140,000 semi-truck that is brand new that I'm leasing and using for business, and I'm out in the semi-truck 90% of the time. So I can't personally justify getting a car right now and just wasting money when I'm not driving a car around. I only use it to go around the corner to Target and shop, and then I hit the road again. Most of the places I go is in the semi-truck. I'll PC somewhere for shopping in the semi-truck. Like, you know what I mean? The fact of the matter is, right now, I have a positive cash flow. I have savings. I have investments. I have retirements. The car is running. But you know what's going to happen? One of these days, winter's going to come. That car's not going to run. The engine's going to blow. The transmission's going to go. Do I have money set aside to put down on a car? You know, do I have money to buy a car, a cheap car? Do I have money to go put down and lease the car? You know, right now it's very easy for me to put a percentage of income aside into a savings account. I'm not even going to miss it. You know, put $20 a week, 40, whatever percentage of your, you know, your figures may be higher or lower, but that's not the point. When you have a positive cash flow and your bills are paid, you can take a little bit. It's easy to take a little bit and put to the side, so that when that which is hard comes in your life, when that winter comes in your life, you are prepared. You have that money to fall back on. You know, you can weather the winter. In investments, we had a winner this last week. The Dow Jones trade wars between our president and China. And I'm not even political with the whole thing. I don't even get into all that. I could care less which side you're on politically. But the fact remains, some statements were made from the White House about China. China seemingly retaliated, and the trade war began. Investors panicked, businesses panicked, because you may not know, but businesses have to pay the tariffs when they ship things in from China. You know, we think we're charging China, but we're actually, the ones paying the tariffs are going to be our companies importing products from China, which is going to raise the overhead in the companies, raise the products, make it harder on the consumer, raise prices, and that is what investors are afraid of. We hit a winner. The Dow Jones sank, lowest point in the whole year. But you know what? I had some investment money set aside. Not everything was invested yet. And I started buying stock at a fraction of a price, because I was prepared for winter, and I was ready to use that to my advantage. I had a coat and a cup of hot cocoa. And what's happening? The market's recovering. And while it recovers, I'm making great gains because I bought so much cheaper during the winter. Sometimes the simplest things that are all around us in life, whether you just take a walk. I love walks. I don't know about you guys. Like early in the morning, especially spring, fall, we have a walking trail out here behind our apartment complex. It's a really nice apartment complex. And, you know, it's one with a walking trail and it's safe and all of this. And we'll go for a walk for an hour, just go get some exercise, but just look at everything around you. Look at the trees, the plants. You know, what is life telling you? You know, you just watch everything happen. Sometimes it's so important to take the simplest things, to take a moment and smell the roses, because they're going to give you clues to how to handle things in your life. Farmers. I used to live in western Kansas, and farmers would plant winter wheat. When do you plant winter wheat? Right before the freeze comes. Like literally weeks before winter. You have to time it right, because if you plant it when it's too warm, the wheat's going to spring up, grow, and then the cold's going to sweep in and kill the wheat. Because wheat is an annual plant. Like you have to replant it every year. Versus alfalfa, which is going to continually come back. So a lot of people like to grow alfalfa. I know a lot about this stuff. So I tried to learn something. You know, the farmers, they're smart. And they learn to time it just right. Weeks before the freeze happens. You know, it's just enough for that seed to get planted in the ground. Let it fully germinate, freeze, hibernate essentially over the winter. And the next spring, you're going to have that fresh winter wheat coming up once that warm weather hits, which will soon grow into, you know, will start as the wheatgrass, which is very nutritious to us humans. You can harvest a huge patch of wheatgrass when it first comes up and it's about that tall, it just looks like blades of grass. You can cut the wheat, blend it into a smoothies. You can dry it, make it into a powder and keep it all year and make it a health drink. And then the rest of it, you let it mature, it grows into wheat. And you make flour, you sell it to the co-ops, you harvest it, you exchange it for money, right? So the farmers knew something. They learned to use the winters. So that when spring comes, they're going to be well on their way to a great harvest. Anyway, I hope this video helped you guys. I just wanted to, I'm trying to focus on doing a lot more videos on, you know, things that I've learned. I have a lot of mentors. I pay for business training and different programs, and I pay a lot of money. And all of these lessons are things that I've learned in my training, and I want to pass it on to you guys. Little things like this have changed my life. I wouldn't be investing right now because I gave myself the excuse last year. Even though I was making better money, I was getting back on my feet, recovering strong. Last couple years, really. But I still had the excuse. I don't have money to invest. I don't have money to put in retirement. Who has that? Who just has extra money to do these things? My business training kicked my booty and got my mindset on the right track to know you need to break down a percentage of your workable cash flow and you need to be putting it aside. Doesn't matter the amounts, whether it's $5 or $10. Amount's not important. It's important that you're putting a percentage of aside of what you do clear. And I did. And now I'm making thousands of dollars in the stock market and retirement. I've got an SEP IRA. You know, I've got lots of ventures as an entrepreneur that are doing very well. So you can do this. You can do this. Love you guys. More very soon.